Hello everyone, I'm Darran Jones and I'm the editor of Retro Gamer, your favourite retro gaming magazine.
Hi, I'm Drew and I'm the production editor of this magazine.
And let's take a look at the said magazine. And let's take a look at the cover, shall we?
Oh my god,
what am I talking like I'm on Vic and Bob? Pokemon.
Pokemon.
I wanna be the very best.
Ow. Yeah, so talk us through this cover.
Well, it's probably best if you talk us through the cover because you're the target audience.
Yeah.
I was an old man when this game came out.
I was, oh god, it came over late 90s. Pokemon is important over here because it came over as a franchise. It didn't come over as just the game, it came over as the card game, it came over as the anime, comics, whatever. You couldn't see the wood through the Pikachus, it was crazy. So we're going to look at Pokemon and how it captured us more than anything.
Like Pokemon balls capture Pokemon.
Yeah, like we just caught D-Ball by throwing the Pokeball at him.
Anyway,
let's go through it.
Let's go through the actual
the magazine? Yeah.
Can't get my words out today. What is going on? Technosoft. Technosoft did loads of really good MSX games, Mega Drive games, most notably the Thunder Force series, and they've been bought by Sega. And Sega actually seem to be doing something with the licenses. So you've got Thunder Force 3 coming out on 3DS, and we're really hoping that there's going to be a Thunder Force compilation sometime down the line. And this is, while we're on the subject of old games coming back, there's actually a third Wonder Boy game in the works. So
another Wonder Boy, again.
Another Wonder Boy. But this one's based on the actual original arcade game, and it doesn't look, well, it doesn't look very nice, but we're sure the gameplay, which is based on the original, will be just as cool as it's ever been. Collector's Corner is obviously back still,
in full swing.
This guy's got a really cool Mega Drive collection. Incidentally, I finally worked out that my Mega Drive has got a 50 and 60 hertz switch, which I never knew.
Riveting.
So let's carry on. And this is our last back to the 90s as well.
Millennium is coming, isn't it?
Yeah. Have we decided, are we going to call it back to the noughties?
Well, that's the actual definition, the noughties. Because you can't say back to the 00s or the 01s.
No, it sounds weird,
awful,
doesn't it?
it?
So yeah, so we're going to be doing that. However, we're not doing it just yet, are we? We're gonna bring it back in the new year. So new year, new retro gamer, new column. It's going to be amazing. So Drew, talk us through this rather awesome looking Pokemon feature.
Yeah. Okay. So we've talked to Junichi Masuda, the man. No, is it Junichi Masuda? I think so.
Yes.
The man to talk about Pokemon, but as well we spoke to the person who runs Cerebi.net. That's like the #1 UK Pokemon fan site for all your news. And a special treat for all of you people, we talked to the person who sung the Pokemon theme tune, Jason Page.
The very best.
I mean, that's quite cool, isn't it?
It's quite a coup, if I say so. I don't want to give it all away, really. So just read it. It's probably one of my favourite features that we've done. I'm a bit biased because I like Pokemon. Not telling by the t-shirt or anything, but trust me, it's good. It's got my stamp of approval on it, and I don't say that lightly.
And then while we're talking about stamp of approvals, I will put my stamp of approval on the Horace Trilogy. Mm-hmm. So basically the Horace Trilogy came out on various systems, but it's most well known on the Spectrum, where it was typically given away with machines. Like many games of the time, they were variations of popular arcade games. So Hungry Horace was effectively a take on Pac-Man. Horace Goes Skiing was a take on Frogger.
It's the highlight.
And
skiing,
the final Horace game,
Horace and the Spiders?
Horace and the Spiders, I've never played, so I can't tell you what that was based on, but it was probably based on an arcade game.
What was Horace again? Did you work out?
Right.
Well, if you look at it.
No one really seems to know what he is. I always thought he was a pair of ass cheeks.
Apparently that's a rat's tail, like a mullet.
But it's a mullet and a rat's tail.
It's a walking pair of trousers.
Yeah, kind of. It's an ass on legs. Moving on, I'm going to continue to use my stamp of approval because Darius is a rather amazing shoot 'em up.
It looks so lovely.
Yeah, I mean it's quite interesting because at the time most shoot 'em ups were typically involved with like spacey aliens and everything else, and while this has got that, it's got an actual fishy nautical thing going on. So all the bosses are like either fish or they're like big shells. They're all mechanised monsters that you would find in the deepest, darkest oceans. And,
might actually be in our oceans, we don't know.
We don't know.
Could be at the bottom of that marina trench. Not much can
we
survive
just
down there
don't know,
apart
do
from
we?
big metal fish.
But we got an interview with the guy who made the Spectrum version, and the actual arcade machine was quite impressive because it was basically 3 gigantic screens all next to each other, so you had this really cool panoramic view, which obviously they couldn't really convert on the home versions at the time.
Yeah, you get like a real sort of like slim version on the screen, don't you?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just nowhere near as effective. So this is quite cool. This is basically the redesigned Atari 2600. The original was obviously effectively known as the Woody, which apparently means something completely different nowadays. Yeah, it does. I won't say what it actually it means. So this is another really cool game. A while ago we were lucky enough to speak to the actual designer because there was a new version coming out, and this is called Imihara Kawas, and it's basically about a little girl who basically goes around navigating platforms using a fishing hook. And there was quite a lot of cool physics and stuff at the time.
It's quite a cute looking game.
Yeah. It's really nice.
Sorry, is that shark walking around on legs?
Yes.
Yeah. Don't all sharks walk on legs?
Because what happened is, years and years and years and years ago,
Oh, what have you done that?
you had like organisms, and then they moved into
2 hours later.
and they eventually became us, Matt. It's called evolution.
Right, okay. Still haven't seen a walking shark to this day.
Well, that's because
Nonsense.
obviously that was years ago. That
Nonsense.
happened millions of years ago before the dinosaurs. But they're in that Super Nintendo game.
And yet the seahorse is just flying around. Doesn't make any sense.
Well, you don't make any sense.
Are you done?
Yes, right. Imagic, keeping with the Atari theme, Imagic were quite cool because they were one of these companies which they saw how successful video games were, and they thought, you know what, I want a slice of that pie.
Much like Activision.
Exactly like Activision, although they were nowhere near as successful as Activision. And
Well, no, because Activision is still going today.
exactly, and Imagine didn't Imagic, they actually folded due to the crash, didn't they?
Yeah.
Which happened in America.
As a result of it, bit off more than it can chew, and it's sort of like wound down with the industry at the time.
We've got a timeline like we always have, and one of the bits for 1983 says sales of Imagic games top 75 million, and then literally the next line down it's company lays off 40 of its 170 employees. This is all but that's how quickly it was all happening, and as quickly as these companies were like appearing and making loads of money, there were so many casualties. But it's a great read.
Metaphorical casualties, not. Well, there could have been real casualties, who knew?
Possibly. Amiga CD32. I was never a fan of the Amiga CD32.
I wouldn't have known what it was.
Well,
This is when
it
I
was
mega driving.
the fans will tell you that it was this amazing console which didn't get the love it deserved, but effectively it was a computer in console clothing. So most of the time they just simply shoehorned Amiga 1200 games onto CD, add a bit of FMV and say Bob's Your Auntie's Living Lover, and that was it.
Damn hacks.
And that's not to say that there's not good games on there, but it didn't last very long either. Commercially, it was released around about the time that Amiga were going bankrupt, and there are good games on it.
And Kim Justice has found them for us, right?
Yeah, Kim's found them for us. But when you look at a lot of the games did come out on other systems, so it didn't really have a huge amount of killer exclusives that obviously consoles need to survive.
Clayfire.
Clayfire. Yeah, I don't like this game.
Our designer, Sam,
never liked this game.
looked this up for reference, right? And he came across it's got its own bloody theme tune, hasn't it?
And he's been playing it.
Whistling
pretty
it,
much every
playing
day.
it, and it's just ingrained into my memory.
But-
Just sort of like,
What I find really interesting about it is it actually sounds like Rick Astley's new song "Keep Singing" but sped up.
are you saying that Rick Astley played Clayfire?
I wouldn't want to allude to that, but I will say is that they sound very similar. The thing with Clay Fighter is it wasn't a particularly good game, but it was an interesting one because unlike many games of the time, it was all made from clay.
Yeah, it was. They made the models and scanned them in, and some of them had actually animated the clay fighters frame by frame.
Yeah.
It spoke to the woman who sculpted up the models as well.
So it's a really interesting story, and with retro gaming, we don't want to just focus on the amazing games. If there's a good story to tell, like with Rise of the Robots, then we want to tell it, and
Exactly.
I feel that Clay Fighter does that. So here we are on the best spread of the magazine.
Jesus
Mazogs. I mean, this is brilliant. I mean, it's not even graphics. That's how good it is.
That's a QR code.
It's not.
It is.
It's like it's a brilliant game, and it just highlights that you don't need amazing graphics to make great games.
It's so bad. It's directing you off the page. Look this way, this way, this way. Oh, look, you're not looking at it anymore.
Right. We're not going to. I feel that an argument's coming up, so we're going to move on
Sorry,
past
Darran,
Mazogs.
you've got a friend in me.
And which is quite handy because we're now on to License to Thrill, which is Toy Story. So Toy Story then. This is quite an interesting game because it came out really, really late in the Mega Drive's life and also the SNES's life, which means that a lot of people wouldn't have got to play it.
I remember I rented it. Well, my parents rented it for me, and when they took it away, I think I absolutely bawled in tears.
I can remember because I'd already moved on to the Saturn by then, and I could just remember looking at it thinking, Christ, that looks really, really good for a Mega Drive game because it looks astonishing. They basically use the same pre-rendered techniques that they have in Donkey Kong Country.
Oh, yeah.
And but one of the things I liked about it, and that you've mentioned, is the sheer variety in it.
Yeah, it's that dog sequence as well that stands out to me. And the we've got a screen of it. It's the Alien Doom section.
Basically, John Burton, one of the heads of Traveller's Tales now, where they make the Lego games, he pretty much made this mostly on his own with a very small team. And he was telling us that for the Doom level, he had a Mickey Mouse with a Gatling gun, which I'd love to play that game. So we've got Syndicate, and this is really cool as well.
It's the Game Boy Advance.
What?
Did you not
Have
have
you
GBA?
never seen one of those before?
No.
Oh my God! How have you got this far in life without knowing what a Game Boy Micro is? Wow!
It's like the original Advance, but smaller and good for
Wow.
tiny
Is that
hands.
official?
Yeah.
Yes.
I've never even.
It's
heard of that.
got a real cartridge in there. Could this be in the top 25? We're not going to go through it because that'll spoil it. But
Yeah. So basically, this is the greatest
Yeah.
games on the GBA as voted for you, the reader, and you've actually got really, really good taste because I'm really pleased with what the #1 game was.
you have my stamp of approval. No, let's stamp everything.
So
look at
this is a bit timely, isn't it?
Yes. Tell us about your adventures into the soundscape.
Well, I've bought Rez many times over the years. It's a great shooter, and it's just obviously come out on PlayStation VR, and it's absolutely amazing. It's like being in the game, and you never want to leave the game. And
We have to drag him out of it just to sit him down. This is why he looks so sad.
It's amazing. It's just normal life is just rubbish when you're not in VR. But we've got an interview with one of the guys, one of the main art director, and it tells you everything you need to know about the game. And if you haven't played it, play it because it's amazing. And we finish off with an interview with Paul Clancy, who worked at Imagine Software, and you can look for our Imagine Software article in the new year.
Coming soon. Yeah?
And otherwise, yep. Here you go.
Look, 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10.
Yeah,
it really
you
is.
loved
that
it
good.
that much. And then
Next month, so we'll quickly go on this. We've got
we venture into the world of Warcraft.
Yep, so a history piece on the Warcraft franchise. We've got a look at Chase HQ. We've got a making of Zool, Myriad. We're looking at Dynamite Cop, Quicks. I always call it Quicks, but apparently it's pronounced Kicks.
It's got no U after the Q. So.
We've got a big piece on Metroidvania. The best ways to play retro today.
Sega Saturn shoot 'em ups.
Yep, Sega Saturn shoot 'em ups, Run the Gauntlet, Kevin Bayliss, Pandemonium, pretty much a little bit of everything.
Good fun.
So that's your lot for this issue. I'm Darran Jones.
I'm Drew Sleep, still, right
And we'll be here next month. See you guys.